Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post another quick video here. This is going to be a quick video response to Vinyl City, his 50 subscribers contest. I just did a contest response to Matt Hayes earlier this morning, and he left a comment on that video and reminded me about his contest, which I totally forgot about. I saved the video in my favorites and just completely forgot to go back in. So thanks for the heads up and the reminder, man, because I definitely wanted to do a response to it. So just going to kind of jump in and do a quick response to his 50 subscribers contest. I'll put a link at the bottom of this video to his contest video. So for those of you maybe that haven't seen it yet or anything of that nature, you can kind of, go check in and jump on board as well. But let's just kind of jump right into it. Let's see, there was a few different questions here, and the first question was, name a band or artist you once liked, stopped listening to, and then have now recently gotten back into again. And that was kind of a tough one, but the one that I think kind of fit that description the most, because usually with me, for the most part, once I really like an artist, I kind of always like them. Maybe they're not in rotation as much or something like that, but usually once you're in my plus column, you kind of always stay in my plus column. So there's very few that really get shoved out to where I just don't like them anymore, much less kind of coming back to them as well. I usually stick with most artists. But the one I think that most fits that description, I'm going to have to go with this here, which would be the Velvet Underground. And just kind of give you a quick snapshot of the box set here, and it's actually kind of because of this album here. I liked Velvet Underground for the longest time and used to listen to them quite regularly, and then for quite some time I just didn't really listen to them at all. It didn't go into the I didn't like them. It's just Velvet Underground just kind of never came up. And about, well, maybe what, 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago or something like that, I was looking to grab something to play in the bedroom while I was getting ready, and I decided to pull this out and gave it a spin, and I just remember listening to it from front to back and just thinking like, wow, I've been sleeping on that for quite some time. I hadn't listened to that album in a long time. So again, I never got to the point where I hated them or didn't like them, but I think in the spirit of the question, this probably is the best fit to a band I listened to a lot, then almost didn't listen to at all, and now, they've been getting quite a bit of spin. So I would say the Velvet Underground there. Next question number 2 was, name an album that you're on the fence about. I don't know if you like it or not. It's actually kind of easy because this was the album that was actually, where'd it go? Over here. I just pulled off the turntable because I've been listening to it the last day or two to see if I'm going to keep it or not. And as of right now, I don't think I am. But it's this album right here, which is The Love Language. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with this group or not. I wasn't like extremely familiar with them, but I picked up this album really cheap a while ago, and first time I listened to it, I thought it was okay, but then, as I've gotten more into cleaning out my collection and everything, I'm pulling stuff on condition, but then also pulling stuff based off of, not really listening to it or whatever else. And so I've listened to this a couple of times, and so far it hasn't really drawn a spark that's making me think, oh, you need to have that in your collection. So I do believe this will be going into the trade pile, and we'll be swapping it out for something that probably will get more rotation, but that's the album that I would choose. Let's see, question number 3. Name an album that first got you into a specific genre. There's a couple on that, but I think the one that's probably the most clear cut would be this album right here, which is John Coltrane's Love Supreme. And as you can see, this album is a little bit rough with the ring wear and all of that. I did get a very nice mint copy of this, but I kept this one because this is the actual copy that I got that day that started me on all things jazz. I've told this story before, where outside of some smooth jazz type of things, I had never really listened to any jazz whatsoever. Didn't know any jazz artist names. I mean maybe Miles Davis. I might, but even then I knew his name. I really didn't know any of his music. But I was in a record store one day, right when I first started collecting vinyl, and the guy was playing this, and I was just like, dude, what is that? I know nothing about jazz or whatever else, but that crap sounds good. And he was like, John Coltrane's Love Supreme. And so I bought this copy, and this is what opened all doors jazz for me. So from this came Dolphy, came Tyner, came Henderson, and Coleman, and just, I mean, on and on and on. So this album sparked my entire introduction into, old school type of jazz. And like I said, this is just one copy, even though it's really rough and beat up and everything else. It's just one I'm determined to keep because of that exact reason. So that would be the answer to that one. And let's see, I think there's one more question here. Yeah. So name an album you're obsessed with or play the most. God, that can really kind of vary. I think overall, because we've had a similar question a couple of times in some recent videos, recent being like over the past year or so, and I think both times before I answered that question with Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. I spin that album a lot. But I thought I would kind of answer this one by thinking more so, just think about maybe over the last 3 to 6 months, kind of a shorter time span. Which album have I've played the most? And this is what I've probably been spending the most over the past 3 to 6 months. It'll be Carole King's Tapestry. So I don't have to say much about this album because I'm sure you guys know it kind of inside and out. Just a total classic. And I think one of those reasons too is because, with all the changes I started to make with putting together my my 70s boom boom room or whatever, well, part of that motivation behind wanting to do a room like that, and I have quite a few updates to show with that, so I'm probably going to do a room tour, room tour video here in the next week or two. But part of my motivation behind doing that literally was not even so much of this album as this album cover. I've always looked at this cover, and there's just always something that's come out about it, just in terms of, seeing kind of the wooden bench that she's sitting on with the whatever kind of regular, average, everyday fluffy sweater, old blue jeans. She's not wearing a ton of makeup, no big fancy stuff done with her hair or anything like that. And then just kind of that whole dim 70s feel that comes from this cover. It just looks like that place she's sitting in there is just, or that house, apartment, whatever it is, it's just like a comfortable, chilling, like no stress, no anxiety type of place to be. And it's like I would love to have a place like that. So that was a big part of my motivation behind doing my other room. And so maybe that's part of what, subconsciously has had me listening to this album so much. Carole King and Linda Ronstadt, I've been listening to a lot of their stuff over the past, and Carly Simon as well. But so that's the album I would choose for that one. And then the last question, first album you bought online. I mean, I tried so hard to remember what that was, and I have no freaking clue. I know when I first started collecting, I just went bonkers, and I remember I had like a dry erase board in my little home office, and I literally was like keeping track of stuff on the dry erase board in terms of just stuff that I had ordered online or whatever else. Because at that time I was selling off my CD collection, thinking I wasn't going to collect CDs anymore. Kind of a mistake, but I caught myself after I sold 100, 150 or so CDs. So I was selling CDs and getting good money for that, and I'm starting from a collection that's this big with all the stuff that I wanted. It was just like, I was just ordering stuff all day long. So I really can't remember. So what I thought I would do is maybe just answer what was the first vinyl record I bought this year, 2017. Because that I could actually look up and find out. And on January 5th, I ordered this online, which is, of course, the solo Kiss album by Peter Criss, as I was working on completing my my box set collection, my homemade box set collection. So that would be the first album that I ordered in January of this year. So there you go, man. Again, thanks for reminding me, and I'm glad I got a chance to kind of jump in on your video here. As always, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon. And again, for those of you who have not done a response to this contest yet, again, check down the link below and hop on board. All right, we'll talk to you soon, VC.